All right, hey guys, we're going to be talking about unit conversions. So we're just going to do this first row of the one-step conversions to start. So here we have 7.68 meters to centimeters. So we're going to go 7.68 meters, and I'm going to draw my multiplication sign and my line. If I have meters on the top, I'm going to want meters on the bottom. And what am I converting to? Centimeters. So I'm going to put centimeters right here. Looking at our chart, we know that we have 100 centimeters in 1 meter. There we go. See, I have my list up too. So looking here, we can see that there's centimeters, and how many centimeters does it take to get over to our base unit of meters? 100. So 100 centimeters. I'm going to pop that right into my calculator. I forgot my over 1. If that helps, you can add that in. So I'm going to multiply my numerator, which is 7.68 times 100. And our denominators are 1, so that's basically like dividing by 1, right? So we have 7.68 times 100, and that equals 768 centimeters. And we know we're right because we can cancel our meters. Perfect. Let's look at this next one. We have 48 kilometers to meters. So if I have kilometers on the top, I'm going to want kilometers on the bottom. And over here, we're converting to meters, so I'm going to have meters on top. How many meters are in a kilometer? Let's look. So meter to kilometer is 1,000. So I know that there's going to be 1,000 meters in a kilometer because kilometers are bigger. So 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. I am feeling pretty good because I know I can cancel these. So I have 48 times 1,000. That is 48,000 meters. And that makes sense too, right? Because kilometers are bigger than meters. So if we're going from kilometers to meters, we expect there to be a lot more meters than kilometers. Good, let's move on to this one. 9.76 liters to milliliters. So we start with 9.76 liters. If I have liters on the top, I want liters on the bottom, and I'm converting to milliliters. So let's look at our chart. How many milliliters are in a liter? We know that there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. I'm feeling pretty good because I can cancel over here, again, over 1 if you want it. We can cancel our liters, so I have 9.76 liters times 1,000 milliliters. That will give me 9,760 milliliters. And that makes sense to me too, right? Because milliliters are smaller than liters, so we would expect to have more of them to take up the same amount of volume. Good, let's move on to this last one on the top. So we have 90 milligrams to grams. Start with my 90 milligrams. If I have milligrams on the top, what am I going to put on the bottom? Milligrams, and I'm converting to grams. 90 milligrams. How many milligrams are in 1 gram? Let's look at our chart. We see that there are 1,000 milligrams in this case to get to grams. So I'm going to put my 1,000 on the bottom because milligrams are smaller. So we are going to have 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. I can't do this one in my head, so let's put 90 divided by 1,000. And I get 0.09 grams, which makes sense too because grams in this case are bigger than milligrams, so we'd expect it to be a smaller number. Good. I'm going to let you guys try these next 4 on your own. So I'm going to do a couple examples from the 2-step conversions. So from the 2-step conversions, we start with 879 centimeters, and we're going all the way to kilometers. So let's set this up first. So if I have centimeters up here, I know I'm going to want centimeters down here. Let's look at our chart. So I'm trying to get from centi to kilo. I don't know exactly how many are between centi and kilo, right? There's not a line that tells me that, but I do know that there are 100 centis, or what are we working with here? Centimeters in 1 meter. So 100 centimeters in 1 meter, and I know that there's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So I'm going to use meters as my go-between between the two. So here, going from centimeters to meters, I said. And if we have meters on the top, I'm going to want meters on the bottom and get to kilometers. So let's see if we can cancel. I can cancel centimeters with centimeters, meters with meters. So I'm feeling pretty good about my placement. So how many centimeters are in a meter? We know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. How many meters are in a kilometer? We know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So I'm going to take my numerator, which is 879, divided by my denominator, which is 100 times 1,000. I got 879 over, let's see, can you see my calculator? Kind of, is the answer. See, that's what I got. So I put 879 over 100 times 1,000. That gives me that. If I want it as a fraction, I'm going to either do that again and put a period in my denominator, or I'm going to convert it to a decimal, and I got 0.00879 kilometers. And that makes sense to me too, because we're going from centimeters, which are, that big, to kilometers, which is around a mile is the nearest thing. So we really don't expect centimeters to be that many kilometers, right? So I'm feeling pretty good about that answer too. Moving on to the next one, this time we're going 12 kilometers to centimeters. So once again, I don't know how many kilometers are in a centimeter. I don't know how many centimeters are in a kilometer, but I do know how many kilometers are in a meter and how many meters are in a centimeter, or how many meters are in a kilometer and how many centimeters are in a meter. So if I have kilometer on the top, I want kilometer on the bottom. I'm going to convert that to meters because that's easy for me, and we can look at our sheet. So we have meters to centimeters on this side because we also know how many centimeters are in a meter. So we know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer, and we know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So here, look at our denominator. It's just going to be 1, so I can basically just multiply my numerator. So 12 times 1,000 times 100 will equal 1, 2, let's count how many zeros we have. I think there's 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. That's about 1,200,000 centimeters. If we were going to write that in scientific notation, that would be 1.2 times 10 to the 3 to the 6th, right? And it's a big number, so we know we want to keep it as a positive exponent. Perfect. Let's do this last one. 879 milligrams to kilograms. So we start with 879 milligrams over 1. Once again, this is the same concept. I'm going to convert back to my base unit. So I'm going to go from milligrams to grams and then grams to kilograms. I know that there are 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. And I know that there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So my numerator is 879. In my denominator, I'm going to take 1,000 times 1,000. And that gives me a big number, or not a big number, a very small number, 879 over, it looks like a million. So I'm going to convert that to a decimal, and I get 0.000879 kilograms. If I was going to write that in scientific notation, it would be 8.79 times 10 to the negative 4th kilograms, which that also makes sense to me because if we're converting from milligrams to kilograms, right, milligrams are really small, and we only have 879 of them, so that's going to be even fewer kilograms. Good. Once again, I'm going to let you guys try these next 3 on your own, and I'm just going to do one of the time conversions for an example. So let's do this first one, 135 seconds to hours. So 135 seconds to hours. So I, off the top of my head, do not know how many seconds are in an hour, but I do know how many seconds are in a minute. So I'm going to do seconds into a minute, and I know how many minutes are in an hour, so minutes to hours. How many seconds are in a minute? Well, we know that there's 60 seconds in 1 minute. How many minutes are in an hour? Well, there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. So I can make sure I'm doing it right. I can check off all my units and see that I have 1 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. Good. So if I'm going to put this in my calculator, I'm going to start with, in my numerator, 135 times 1 times 1. So I'm just going to put 135 in my numerator. And in my denominator, I'm going to do 60 times 60. And that gives me 3 over 80 as a decimal. That is 0.0375 hours. Which that makes sense a lot, right? Because 135 seconds is not that much time, and that's even less of an hour. So we're going to have a decimal for an hour. If I was going to put this in scientific notation, I'd have 3.75 times 10. I'm going to have a 2 in my exponent. That's a small number with a decimal, so it's going to be times 10 to the negative 2. Good. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or Miss Avra. But I know you guys are going to do great, so let's fill in the rest of the ones that we haven't done yet.